So in this video, I want to just walk you through how you can access some free materials from Microsoft to prepare for any Microsoft exam. So in this video, for demonstration purposes, we will just focus on the Azure administration exam. So I will just come to my web browser and just click here AZ-104. That's the exam code for Microsoft Azure administration. So as you can see, the very first link that comes up is the Microsoft Learn. The Microsoft Learn is a platform where you can prepare for an exam, and it has training that is text-based. So I will click on that link. It's going to open up this page for Microsoft Certified Azure Administrator Associate. So that's the full name for this certification. And then it tells you what are the things that you're going to learn. So you're going to learn how to configure, manage, secure, and administer Microsoft Azure. When you come down, it tells you the level for this certification is an intermediate level, and the role is for an Azure administrator. It tells you when this page was last updated. It also tells you that it's focused on Azure, and when you have this certification, at the end of every year or at the end of every 12 months, you need to renew this certification. So you need to recertify pretty much. Just is a way to demonstrate that you are current, up to date with the skills needed to have this certification. So it follows a 12 months or a 1 year renewal process. And to renew the certification is free. So it is only the very first time that you are doing the exam that you pay for, and every other renewal is free. So when we scroll down, it gives us an overview of the certification. It tells us the areas that it will cover. So it has virtual networks, storage, compute, identity, security, and governance. So it goes on to give you additional information, and it tells you the various skills that will be measured when you are doing this certification. So when you scroll down to prepare for the exam, it gives you these various training modules. So these training modules tells you the time it would take to read through this training module. So the very first training module is the prerequisite for Azure Administrator. So these are skills that you need to at least be aware of or have before you can begin diving into Azure Administration. So you can click on this, but what I will do is just right click on it and open in a new tab. And then I will go to that tab. So in this tab now, I see the prerequisite. So when I scroll down, I will see the various modules that form part of this prerequisite for Azure administration. The very first module is Introduction to Azure Cloud Shell. So when you expand it, it tells you all of the various topics. So it goes with the introduction, then it tells you what is Azure Cloud Shell, and then it goes into how it works. And then at the end of this module, there's a knowledge check, which pretty much just asks you some questions on what you learned, and then it gives you a summary, and then you are done with that module. So as you can see, I have completed these modules. That's why they all have the check mark. So after the introduction to Azure Cloud Shell, then the next introduction will be Introduction to Bash, and this is 57 minutes long. And then the next thing is an introduction to PowerShell. So I will open one of the modules. So I will just come back to the Cloud Shell and then click on the introduction just for you to have a look at how it is. So like I said, it is text-based. So you just need to read through these in the order in which they have been listed here. So you can read through the introduction. Once you are done reading through this introduction, you come here and click on Next. It will take you to the next one, which is what is Azure Cloud Shell. And then you read through that, and then you go to Next, and then it tells you some other additional information about the Cloud Shell. And then once you are done with that, you go to Next, and then more information on Cloud Shell. And then you come to the knowledge check. And after the knowledge check, then you have the summary. And then after the summary, you are done with that module. Then click on Complete Module. So I'll come back here to this tab. So after you go through all of the modules for the prerequisite, then the next one is to start the actual course, which is the AZ Managed Identities and Governance in Azure. So that's the first and module. So when you look at the Azure administration, apart from the prerequisite, it is actually divided into 5 big modules. So you have Managed Identities and Governance in Azure, which will last for 3 hours, 39 minutes. And then the next one is to configure and manage virtual networks for Azure Administrator. It is almost an 8-hour long course. And then the next module is how to implement and manage storage in Azure. That's for 4 hours. And then the next thing is to deploy and manage Azure Compute Resources. That's almost 6 hours. And then the last but not the least is to monitor and back up Azure resources, which is about 5 hours, 30 minutes. After completing all of the modules, you can come and go through the practice assessment to check your knowledge. Then the next thing you can do is to visit the exam sandbox, which is an environment that allows you to practice more for how the exam will look like. So it's not like you are taking the real exam, but this is something similar to prepare you for the exam. And then this area to watch video is just some videos that have been put together by Microsoft on what are different questions and what are areas to watch out for and be aware of before going to take the exam. Then when you come down, it breaks down the exam for you. So it tells you that when you go to do the exam, you will have the 100 minutes for the exam. It tells you the exam policy and tells you all this information. Also, based on your location, it tells you what's the cost of the exam. If you are in the United States, it costs you $165 US, which is the same if you are in Canada, as I'm in Canada. But then depending on where you are, you can just pick the country. It will tell you exactly how much it will cost you. For example, if you are in Liberia, it tells you the exam will cost you $80 United States. If you are in South Africa, it has a different price, $55 US. So make sure to pick your location and then just familiarize yourself with how much it's going to cost you to pass the exam in your location. Again, yeah, it tells you that you can renew your certification as well. And then you come down and you have the study guide. So the study guide will be another thing I will show you. And then also the certification poster. So I will just right click this and open that in a new tab. So I'll go to my next tab here and close this and come to the study guide. So this is the certification study guide for all Microsoft exam. So we are talking about the AZ-104. So you want to come to the study guide for the AZ-104, and you see that this study guide was last updated on January 10th, 2024. So it tells you the purpose of the study guide. So the study guide pretty much just tells you what to expect on the exam. It's good to be familiar with the study guide because sometimes there are things on the exam that either get removed and replaced with other topics that Microsoft feel necessary for the exam. So it's always good to come and read through the study guide to just be familiar with the skills that will be measured during the exam. Okay, so you can go through this. I highly recommend that you go through the study guide just because it tells you what will be on the exam and what would not be on the exam. Or things that were there before and that were updated or removed. It gives you all of those information. So you can just go through all of these. Okay. So that will do it for the static guide for Azure administration. Like I said, when you look on the left, it has all the static guides for various exams. The next area I want to bring you to is the on-demand instructor-led training series. I didn't know about this prior to creating this video, but of recent, I think in the last month, someone shared it on LinkedIn, and that's how I got to know that Microsoft has on-demand video series on various certification. So this is a good resource to have. Again, these video series, they are based on the Microsoft Learn. So if you come to the Microsoft Learn, which is the text-based training that we talk about, which are these. So these training, these are the various video training for them. So if I come here and let's say for our purposes, we are studying for the AZ-104. So you just type in the name of the exam or the exam code. So I put in the exam code. I will just click on search. When I click on search, it tells me that there are 31 videos for Azure administration. So you can see the introduction. The first video is the introduction, is about 7 minutes long. And then you have configure Microsoft Azure ID, which used to be called Azure Active Directory. That's about 16 minutes long. And then you have the next video, how to configure user and group accounts. So these are all free videos from Microsoft. So for Azure administration, there are a total of 31 videos, as you can see. So if you scroll down, you'll see. So these are like high-level summary of the Microsoft Learn. So if you want more details about each aspect of the certification, you have to read through the Microsoft Learn, because that's a test base that goes into more details. And then after going through that, you can come to the video series. But it really doesn't matter. You can do the video before the text base, or you can do the text based learning before the video. It's completely up to what you prefer. So again, you can search for any Microsoft exam. Yeah, so let's say you want to do the Azure Fundamental, which is the AZ-900. You can just click on search, and it's going to tell you, no, the DP is for data. I'm talking about the AZ-900. So you see 1 of 6. So it's a total of 6 videos for the Azure Fundamentals. So some of these videos are long. See, the Cloud Fundamental for AZ-900 is about 30 minutes. So, and you have the Azure Architecture and Azure Compute Services is almost 43 minutes long. And then you have these various videos. So what I recommend yet, if you want to watch a video, once you search for the video, so what I recommend when you want to watch the video, if you search for the particular exam, what I do is just right click on and say open link in a new tab. Because what I find is when I click on it, it just goes straight to the video. And then after I have to go to back and come back. So to avoid that, I just right click on it, open a new tab, watch that video. Then when I'm done, I close that tab, come back here, and then right click on the second tab, or right click on the second video and open the new tab and go through it. So that's about the on-demand Microsoft video training for the various certification. Another area that I want to show you is that Microsoft has these interactive lab simulations. So when you go through the Microsoft Learn and then you go through the on-demand video training, if you need to see again to just reinforce what you have learned, you can come to these interactive lab. So they pretty much go through all of the labs that you need to cover for the particular exam that you are preparing for. In our example, we are focused on the Azure Administrator training. So these are the various labs. You have 17 labs. So it tells you to complete all of these labs. You will take an approximate 4 hours to complete these labs. So when I click on one of these, let's say if I click on Manage Azure Active Directory Identities, it's going to open a new tab and it's going to bring me to the simulation window where I can just click on play and then I can watch the simulation about Azure Identities. Again, once I'm done, I can close the tab, come back, and then go to the next one, how to manage subscriptions and role-based access control, which is RBAC. So that's another way to reinforce the things that you have learned throughout that exam. So once you are done with the simulations, another place I want to show you is a website called MeasureUp, which is just a platform that you can come and use to just familiarize yourself with how the exams are structured. So this is not the exam, but this is just giving you an idea of how the questions will be structured on the exam. So once I come here, I can come to the training library, just go to Microsoft, and then I can just look for the AZ104. So I will click on this, the view product. So if you just want to purchase just this product, is $99, but right now there's a promotion that you can purchase it for $74. But then that you can purchase for $74. So this will just take you through the practice test. So it gives you a breakdown of the exams. Again, it's following a similar format of how the exam guide or study guide show us. So these are the various areas it's going to have questions on, just for you to practice and prepare for the exam. It tells you also when this was released. It was first released in June 2020. It tells you that it was last updated in April 2024. It tells you that it has a total of 201 questions. It tells you the role and tells you the language that is these questions are in. And for this, I would rather recommend that you get a subscription instead of purchasing, because when you look at purchasing an exam, it's expensive, because if you have a few exams that you want to write, the total will become expensive. So maybe look at per user subscription. You see the monthly subscription is $29, but if you are paying for 1 year cash down, you can just pay $199, which is like $200. And you pay $200 US, and then you have the subscription for the year, or you can go on a $29 per month subscription plan. So this is in addition to all of the studies. So the first one we did was the Microsoft Learn, which is the test-based. Then we did the on-demand video, and then we look at the simulations for the various labs. And then you have MeasureUp, which gives you practice questions just to prepare you for the exam. But if you have been playing around Microsoft and watching videos on YouTube, you will know that John Savill is someone that you will want to check out his YouTube channel. So I was actually forgetting about it, but I just remember him. So I will just show you his YouTube channel. So and then you search for him. He's a Microsoft employee, but he creates free video on Azure, on different aspects of Azure, whether database, whether artificial intelligence. Azure administration. Like he does a whole lot on Azure. And then, so this is his channel. You can subscribe to his channel. So John Savill's Technical Training, that's the name of his channel. I'll just pause this video. And he tells you that his focus is on Azure, DevOps, PowerShell, and all Microsoft technologies. And everything he does there is free. He doesn't even put video ads on his video. None of those stuff are on his video. So he's well known in the Microsoft community. And like I said, he's a Microsoft employee. So he will tell you a lot about the various technologies. So he has master classes. He used to have a previous master class on Azure, but then when things got updated with Azure, he created version 2 of that master class. So that's why you have Azure Masterclass V2. So you don't want to go through the V1, you just want to go straight to the V2 because this will have all the latest in Azure. So right now he has a total of 13 videos in there. So he starts with the introduction, telling you why this is version 2. And then he goes into the various modules. So he starts with giving you Azure Fundamental. So just think of module 1 as like what we were looking at, like the prerequisite, but this, he talks about Azure Fundamental. So he's just telling you about the various concepts when it comes to Azure, what is Azure, the different cloud deployment models, and all of those things. So he gives you the fundamental, and then he goes into identity, then he does governance, he does all of these things, storage, networking, you name it, he goes through them step by step. So I feel like with the Microsoft Learn, with the Microsoft On-Demand videos, with the simulations lab, and then with John Savill training on YouTube, and then with the practice question, I feel that all of these put together, they are enough for you to prepare and pass successfully in a Microsoft exam. So, and you are doing all of those things for free because, yeah, they are all there and available. And maybe another thing you could do, if let's say you're covering a particular topic on the Microsoft Learn, let's say we are going through managed identities. So if there's an aspect of this topic, so what I would do is, if I'm doing managed identities, I will click on this managed identities and governance. I will go through the Microsoft Learn module for managed identity. As you can see, I'm currently preparing for the Azure administration exam. So I've completed the prerequisite and I'm going through the managed identities. So what I will say is, if you go through managed identities, and then the next thing you can do is to go to the on-demand and then come to the AZ104, search for it, and then go through the managed identity, user and computers, and then Azure Active Directory, or currently it's called Microsoft Azure ID. So you want to do episode 2 and episode 3 of the on-demand, and then you come to the video simulation, and then you do the first one, which is the Azure ID identities. Then you can also look at the subscription, you look at governance, and then you go to John Savill video, and then you look at his masterclass version 2 for Azure. And then, so if there's an aspect of identity that you didn't understand, then you just come here and just watch module 2, which is identity, right? So we'll go into more detail. So I feel like with that, and then if you need to read more, you can always search for Microsoft Azure ID identity documentation. So Microsoft has some documentations, that you can read, and that will give you more details. So I feel like with the mixture of all of these resources, you will have all the information you need on a specific topic. So Microsoft Azure ID documentation. So I'll click this, and yeah, it's going to tell you all about Azure ID. See? So it will tell you what is Azure ID. It will tell you about authentication. It will tell you about application management, role-based access control or RBAC, user management, conditional access, device identity, hybrid identity, application provisioning, application proxy, managed identities for Azure resources, application integration, monitoring and health, then multi-tenant organization, domain services, and then Azure Active Directory B2C, business to customer. Well, now it's called Azure ID. So Azure ID, business to customer. So again, there are tons of resources out there that you don't need to spend a penny for to access these resources. They are just there. You just need to be aware of them and where to find them, and then how to prepare for the exam. Then my final take on this preparation for the exam is nothing beats you actually getting your hands dirty. So get an Azure subscription on the Azure portal, which is come to Azure portal, create your free Azure portal account, and also practice all of these things that you're learning. Practice them from scratch. So close your book, close all your notebooks, straight from memory. Try to redo all of the labs and in your Azure portal tenant. And then as you do these projects, make sure you are documenting them by either writing a blog post. I would recommend that you write a blog post as well as create a YouTube video about what you are learning and share it on your LinkedIn profile. And then when you do that, you will start to share what you are learning in public, and you will also network with other professionals on LinkedIn, other people who are on the same journey as you, or people who are a little bit below your level. You can share with them. And then there are other people on LinkedIn who are way experienced. They could reach out to you, or you could reach out to them, and they could also mentor you and also share additional resources with you. And also it's good to share on LinkedIn because, again, that's a place where hiring managers come and they look. So when a hiring manager sees your profile and see that you are sharing things and you are learning new things, they can hit you up and hire you for a position. But again, all of these things will mean nothing if you don't have hands-on experiences. So create a free Azure account. It is available. The free account will be available to you for 30 days, and you can practice everything that you are learning in this course for Azure administration. If you need help on how to create a free Azure account to practice, I have a video on my YouTube channel that you can check out, and it's called How to Create a Free Azure Account. So I'll walk you through how to create your free Azure account. And I also have a video on how to deploy your first Azure Windows virtual machine. So you can also watch that here as well on the channel. I feel like with all of those resources, you will be ready for the exam. I'll make sure to leave a link to all of these websites in the video description down below so you can go through them and prepare for Azure administration exam. If there's any exam that you want to prepare for that is not the Azure administrator exam, you can go through the same route and find all of the resources. So there's Microsoft Learn for all of those exams. Then last but not the least is I want to show you the Microsoft certification poster. So I'm just going to zoom on. So this is the Microsoft certification poster. So it tells you the various categories that you can focus on. So we have infrastructure, we have data and artificial intelligence, we have digital app and innovation, we have modern works, business application, and security. So for infrastructure, you start with the Azure fundamental. So I've already done that training and I've already passed that exam. So the next thing from the Azure fundamental is to come to what we call role-based certification or role-based skills, right? So now I'm on the Azure Administrator Associate. So from the Azure Administrator Associate, another thing you could consider doing is to become an architect, is to do the solution architect expert. But in my opinion, to be a very good solution architect, you need to know more than just Azure administration, in my opinion. Because when you look at the Azure administration, it is focused mainly on infrastructure as a service. Then we also have the AZ700, which focuses on the Azure networks. So I feel like you should know the AZ104, Azure administration. Then you should know the AZ700, Azure network engineer, to know about the networks. So after the AZ700, another exam I would recommend would be the AZ204, which is the Azure Developer Associate, because this is like the other side of 104. So 104 focuses on infrastructure as a service, and then 204 focuses on platform as a service. So I feel like you should know about platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, and then know about the network. And then I would say know about database. So maybe look at the Azure Data Engineer Associate, the 203. And then when you know database, then I would say know about security. So maybe you come to, there's a security fundamental, SC900. So you can do the fundamental and then do the AZ500. And then, yeah, so if you don't know about database at all, I would say start with the DP900, which is the database fundamentals. And then after that, then maybe you can do DP100, Data Scientist Associate, or maybe Database Administrator. Whatever the case, in my opinion, I feel like before you can architect a network, you need to know about infrastructure, you need to know about platform as a service, you need to know about the networks, you need to know about database, you need to know about security. Because when you are architecting the network, you're going to include all of those things. They're going to be part of your design. You will definitely have some form of database or data involved in there. You have compute resources, the virtual machines, which fall under the Azure administration exam. And then you will need some platform as a service, which is the AZ204. You will need to know networks because everything connects on the network, right? The cloud is virtualization on the network. So you need to know about network. You need to know how to connect your on-premise network with your Azure network and all of those things. And then you need to know about security because in your design, you need to create an environment that is secure, right? So I feel like just leaving from the Azure administrator exam and then coming straight to the architect, you will have a hard time architecting an Azure environment without knowing about networks, database, platform as a service, and security. So that would be my recommendation for you to at least be familiar with those other aspects of Azure, and then you can come to this AZ305. So that's how I would just think of it, and that's how I would look at it. Because it's like someone who works as a, let's say you doing architecture engineering, right? You need to know about different aspects of the house, right? But you need to have a bit of understanding of different aspects of everything that goes into a house in order for you to create a good house plan. Because you don't want to put certain things closer to certain things when they don't actually go together. So that would just be my thought. But yeah, so this Microsoft certification poster helps you to know the different kind of categories for Microsoft certification. And the nice thing about certification training is that certification gives you a structure to pursue. Certification gives you a structure that you can follow to study, instead of you just studying all around the place or not knowing what to study first, what to study next, and what to study after that. Just pick one certification and then just follow through and then go through it step by step, because it will just keep building up on the knowledge. But again, if you are very new to Azure like myself, I have quite a bit of experience with Azure now. I would say about 2 years of experience with Azure, but mainly with Microsoft Endpoint or Microsoft Intune. I use that a lot. And then a little bit of the Microsoft 365. And with Azure, not a lot of that at work, but it's something that I'm learning, because at work we are migrating to Azure. So I just want to prepare myself so that when that time comes, I'm ready to just fit into Azure. So, but good to start with the fundamentals and then build on that. Okay? So that brings an end to this video. If you have any questions about preparing for a different Microsoft certification other than Azure Administrator, and you have questions and you don't understand or you don't know how to prepare for it, make sure to leave a question in the comment section below, and I can make a video for you and just show you different materials that you can take into consideration as you prepare for that certification. Okay? So everything that I discuss here, all the websites that I show, I'll make sure to leave links to those in the video description down below, so that you can easily just go to those various websites. But without further ado, take care, and I will see you in the very next video. Bye.